Inside Echo Valley's steel-clad fortress, alarms screamed as sparks flew across shattered consoles, the lab a chaos of flashing lights and smoke. Guards scrambled in terror while the half-alien, half-robotic Salamine towered over broken experiments, his mechanical limbs twitching with lethal intent. From the shadows, Superman, Thor, Batman, and Iron Man erupted into the fray, their powers colliding in a storm of fire, lightning, and sheer force. A tortured survivor broke free, roaring through the chaos, sending Salamon's minions scattering like leaves in a hurricane. Outside, the villain-controlled city trembled, oblivious that the hero's relentless vengeance had just begun. The fortress of Echovale loomed over the city like a metallic scar, black steel twisting into jagged spires that scraped the storm-darkened sky. Inside, the heart of the villain empire pulsed with cold efficiency. The lab was a cathedral of chaos. Glass tanks cracked, wires sizzled with electricity, and alarms screamed like mechanical banshees. Sparks leapt from broken consoles, bathing the hall in harsh, flickering light. The air was thick with smoke, the metallic tang of blood, and the acrid bite of burned circuitry. Somewhere deep inside, the half-alien, half-robotic Salamine moved with unnatural precision, limbs clanking, sensors glowing red. His body was a grotesque fusion of muscle, metal, and alien tech, with jagged spikes crawling along his spine. He had been waiting for this moment, a chance to crush any resistance before it could form. The first scream shattered the air. A human experiment, eyes wild with terror and pain, tore free from his containment pod. Fused with alien tech, his body twitched violently, limbs jerking in strange rhythms, but he was alive. Alive enough to run. Guards bolted toward him, batons crackling with energy, but the figure was already gone, vanishing into the shadows with terrifying speed. Salamon's voice echoed through the chamber, metallic and guttural. "Stop them." The roar was a mix of alien growl and servo-driven command, vibrating through the concrete floors. Every guard froze, instinctively stepping back from the terrifying presence of their half-human overlord. Then the storm broke. Superman burst through the reinforced ceiling, crashing into the lab with the force of a meteor. Glass shattered beneath him, shards spinning in midair as his eyes flared with heat vision, slicing through Salamon's mechanical minions like butter. Thor slammed his hammer onto the metal floor beside the alien's horde, and lightning danced along the rafters, arcing through wires, sending sparks raining down in every direction. Iron Man rocketed in, repulsors firing, energy blasts punching holes through walls and robotic guards alike. Batman dropped silently from a shadowed catwalk, cape unfurling like a dark wing, batarang slicing through enemy circuitry, leaving sparks flying from each hit. The four heroes moved as one, a single, unstoppable storm of power and fury. Salamon's minions swarmed, but they were unprepared for the precision of the hero's assault. Guards, fused with alien tech, moved with enhanced speed, but Superman's punches sent them crashing into walls. Thor's hammer summoned thunderclaps so violent the ground quaked beneath them, sending shards of concrete into the air. Iron Man's repulsors lit up the chamber like daylight, vaporizing enemy drones in a split second. Batman was everywhere at once, a blur of black and shadow, dismantling the control panels that powered the lab. The chaotic battle was a dance of destruction, every movement precise yet brutal, leaving the lab a storm of fire, smoke, and shattered metal. The freed human stumbled through the chaos, eyes wide, body twitching with the alien tech's lingering influence. Every step he took sparked sparks from his augmented limbs, a terrifying reminder of Salamon's experiments. "This way." Superman's voice cut through the din, calm but commanding, as he swept the survivor into a protective shield of his arms. "We're getting you out of here." Thor followed, lightning crackling around him like a second storm, clearing a path. Iron Man hovered overhead, scanning for threats, while Batman disappeared into the shadows to intercept reinforcements. The lab was collapsing under the heroes' combined onslaught, alarms screaming, fires burning, but Salamine still remained, towering, relentless, and calculating. Salamon's sensors locked onto the heroes. He moved faster than any human could track, a blur of muscle and machinery, spikes scraping the concrete as he advanced. "You cannot stop me," he hissed, voice distorted by metal and alien resonance. His arms extended, blade springing from his forearms, slicing through the nearest guards like a scythe. The heroes braced, ready for the first real clash. Superman's fists collided with Salamon's armored chest, sending shockwaves that rattled the lab's foundations. Thor swung his hammer with precision, electricity sparking off Salamon's metal plating, while Iron Man fired volleys of energy to keep the alien tech soldiers at bay. Batman launched explosives that detonated in perfect synchronization with Thor's lightning strikes, sending pieces of Salamon's machinery scattering across the lab. The city outside trembled as the fortress shook. Windows cracked for miles as Echo Volley's energy pulses rippled outward, signaling the first strike against the villain empire. Citizens froze, phones capturing the chaos, but they didn't yet understand the storm approaching their streets. Across the city, Salamon's control grid faltered. Without the lab fully operational, his minions began to panic. Confusion spread through his ranks like wildfire. The first seeds of fear were planted. The hero's wrath was not just in the lab, but in every shadow of Salamon's empire. Amid the carnage, the survivor screamed, breaking free of a collapsing wall, rolling into Superman's arms. His augmented body twitched violently, alien machinery sparking against his skin. "You're safe now," Superman reassured him, eyes scanning the chaos. Thor swung his hammer in a circle, summoning a storm of lightning to block reinforcements. Iron Man's HUD flashed warnings, structural failures imminent, but he pushed forward, targeting Salamon's command consoles. Batman's tactical mind moved faster than ever, predicting every attack Salamine might attempt, setting traps and cutting escape routes. Then Salamine struck. He launched himself at the heroes, spikes and blades extended, moving faster than thought. The four heroes converged on him, the lab exploding around them in waves of fire, sparks, and shattered steel. Each strike from Salamine met with counterattack. Superman's heat vision, Thor's lightning, Iron Man's precision fire, Batman's traps and gadgets. The survivor watched from the edge of the chaos, trembling, caught between awe and terror. Each punch, each blast, each strike sent shockwaves so powerful the fortress itself groaned. The battle was more than physical. It was a collision of wills, a fight to determine the fate of everyone trapped under Salamon's empire. Finally, the lab's core erupted in a storm of fire and sparks. Alarms shrieked their last desperate warning. Salamon's minions fell one by one, scattered or destroyed. The heroes stood together in the smoke-filled ruins, the survivor between them, breathing hard but alive. At the far end of the chamber, Salamon's red sensors glowed through the smoke. He had survived the first strike, and his mechanical limbs twitched with renewed menace. "This is only the beginning," he hissed, voice a blend of rage and calculation, echoing through the crumbling fortress. The heroes exchanged a grim glance. Echo Vale was far from defeated. The city trembled, the Empire's reach still intact, and Salamon's throne room awaited. Every building, every street, every shadowed alley was a potential battlefield. The first act of vengeance had begun, but the war was far from over, and deep in the smoke and ruin, a chilling sense of dread spread. Salamine had plans the heroes could not yet imagine. The storm had begun, and the world would never be the same. The smoke from Echo Volley's lab still curled into the sky, but the battle had spilled into the city. Streets that once hummed with life now lay in chaos. Cracked asphalt, overturned cars, and fires licking the edges of skyscrapers. Citizens screamed, scattering as energy blasts and lightning arcs tore through the air. Superman led the charge, flying low, scanning for survivors and threats. His cape whipped behind him like a crimson banner of vengeance. Thor thundered beside him, hammer swinging, lightning cracking across the city like a whip. The duo's combined power lit the skyline, turning night into day. Iron Man streaked overhead, repulsors glowing, scanning for Salamon's reinforcements. Drones swarmed from hidden towers, their weapons firing with lethal precision, but he tore through them with calculated blasts. Batman moved through the shadows on the ground, striking with perfect timing, incapacitating soldiers and sabotaging mechanized vehicles. His eyes glimmered in the smoke as he directed civilians to safety, blending strategy with relentless combat. Together, they were a perfect storm, an unstoppable force sweeping through the chaos Salamine had unleashed. Salamine had retreated deeper into the city, but his presence was already felt everywhere. Each street corner, each alley, pulsed with the remnants of his technology, traps, surveillance drones, and robotic enforcers. The citizens' fear grew with every pulse of energy, every roar that echoed through the ruined streets. Even the police and emergency services were paralyzed, unsure whether to flee or fight. Superman hovered over a collapsed overpass, using his heat vision to cut through a barricade of alien tech, rescuing trapped families in seconds. "We need to push him back," Thor shouted over the storm of destruction, hammer slamming into a hovering drone that exploded in a flash of sparks. The survivor ran alongside them, still twitching from the alien tech implanted in his body. Every step emitted a faint electric hum, leaving a trail of sparks on the asphalt. I can guide you to the central node," he stammered, eyes wide, voice trembling. "It's where Salamon's army is connected. If you destroy it, we can cripple him." Batman's jaw tightened beneath his cowl. "Then we move fast. No distractions." Iron Man circled above, scanning, plotting their strike, while Superman and Thor formed the vanguard. The survivor led them through twisting alleys and shattered highways, each step more perilous than the last. Suddenly, a wall of mechanized soldiers emerged, blocking the avenue. Salamon's voice echoed from the sky, distorted and omnipresent. "You cannot stop me. Your world will crumble." The soldiers advanced with terrifying synchronization, their alien tech enhancements making them faster, stronger, nearly unstoppable. But the heroes didn't falter. Superman flew into the front line, fists pounding, sending waves of enemies crashing into buildings. Thor swung his hammer in wide arcs, each strike sending lightning bolts spiraling through the ranks. Iron Man fired a volley of repulsor blasts, melting armor and circuitry in seconds. Batman moved like a shadow, flipping and striking, exploiting every weak point with surgical precision. The fight became a blur of motion. Explosions rocked the streets, sparks flew from shattered drones, and the screams of enemies and civilians mixed into a chaotic symphony. Citizens fled in every direction, capturing the mayhem on their devices, broadcasting the hero's wrath to the world. Fear spread through the villain-controlled city like wildfire. The citizens were witnessing the beginning of the end for Salamon's empire. With every strike, every rescue, every fallen minion, the villain's grip weakened. But Salamine was far from finished. From the top of a crumbling skyscraper, he launched himself downward, limbs whirring, spikes extended, eyes glowing crimson. Superman intercepted him midair, colliding with a force that sent both crashing through a steel and glass storefront. The impact created a shockwave that hurled debris in all directions. Thor slammed down his hammer, lightning cascading through Salamon's armored chest. But the villain laughed, mechanical joints grinding as he recovered instantly. Iron Man unleashed a barrage of missiles, each hitting with pinpoint accuracy, while Batman set traps along the streets, forcing Salamon's reinforcements into deadly patterns. The survivor's voice rang out, strained but determined. "There, the central node. If we destroy it, Salamine loses his control over the city." Superman nodded, lifting the survivor and launching him to safety. Thor and Iron Man followed, clearing a path as Batman disabled every obstacle in their way. The final stretch was a gauntlet of fire and metal, but nothing could stop the heroes' relentless push. As they reached the central node, a massive tower pulsating with alien energy, the ground trembled violently. Salamine emerged, larger than ever, his body radiating a terrifying fusion of alien power and robotic precision. "You think this is the end," he growled. "It is only the beginning of your destruction." Superman clenched his fists, heat vision flaring. Thor raised Mjolnir, lightning crackling along its edge. Iron Man hovered, weapons primed. Batman's eyes narrowed, every strategy already forming in his mind. Together, they were a force Salamine had never faced before, yet even their combined might not be enough. With a roar that shook the city, Salamine charged, launching himself into the air, spikes and blades extended. The heroes converged, each strike landing with the force of a storm. The central node's energy flared violently, responding to the chaos, threatening to explode. Sparks, fire, and electricity lit the skyline like a second sun. Citizens watched from afar as skyscrapers trembled, smoke and debris filling the air. The battle for the city and the fate of Salomon's empire was reaching a fevered pitch. And then, with a flash of blinding energy, the central node exploded. Debris rained down, sending shockwaves through the streets. The surviving soldiers faltered, scattered, and the city began to taste freedom for the first time in years. But Salamine, he was still alive, hovering amidst the smoke and chaos. His red eyes glowed, body twisted and sparking. "You may have won this battle," he hissed, voice grinding like metal on metal. "But the war has only begun." The hero stood among the ruins, panting, battered, but unbroken. The city trembled, a mix of relief and lingering fear settling over the survivors. The first major victory had been claimed, but the shadow of Salomon's power still loomed. And deep within the ruins, the faint hum of alien tech suggested the villain's revenge was already brewing. The storm had passed for now, but the war was far from over. The city lay in smoking ruin, but the storm was far from over. Salamine had retreated to the upper levels of Echovale, the fortress now a labyrinth of shattered walls, sparking consoles, and corridors lined with alien machinery. Superman, Thor, Batman, and Iron Man pursued him relentlessly, each step a testament to their fury. The air was thick with the scent of burning metal and ozone, punctuated by the occasional groan of the crumbling structure. Every shadow seemed alive with danger, every corner a potential trap. Salomon's minions, those shattered in the streets, regrouped here in desperation, augmented by alien technology. They emerged from hidden chambers, their eyes glowing with programmed malice. Superman met the first wave head-on, fists colliding with augmented soldiers in bursts of kinetic energy that sent them flying into walls. Thor's hammer struck like a lightning bolt, exploding circuits and shattering reinforced armor. Iron Man unleashed a barrage of precise repulsor blasts, vaporizing enemies in fractions of a second, while Batman moved like a phantom, disabling turrets and sabotaging drones before they could react. The heroes advanced in perfect coordination. Superman's flight and raw power cleared hallways of obstacles. Thor's lightning and hammer strikes created paths through locked doors and reinforced barriers. Iron Man provided aerial cover, scanning for threats, and Batman coordinated attacks from shadows, ensuring no enemy could flank them. The survivor ran alongside them, his alien-enhanced body still twitching, sparks flying from his limbs, guiding them deeper into Salomon's domain. "Throne room ahead," he panted, voice strained. This is where he channels the full power of the alien tech fusion. We have to strike now. Suddenly, the corridor ahead erupted. Salamine appeared, half alien, half robot, towering over the heroes, spikes along his back glowing red with energy. "You think this is the end?" he growled, claws extending, whirring with lethal intent. He lunged, moving faster than human eyes could track. Superman intercepted him mid-flight, their collision sending a shockwave that rattled the fortress's steel walls. Thor swung Mjolnir in a wide arc, lightning arcing off Salomon's armor, yet he barely flinched. Iron Man fired a continuous stream of energy blasts, melting parts of his mechanical body, but the villain adapted instantly. Batman moved like a shadow, targeting weak points in the alien tech armor, throwing explosive batarangs with surgical precision. The fight became a blur of motion, sparks, and shattering metal. Every strike the heroes landed was met with a counterattack that shook the floors and walls. Salomon's claws sliced through steel doors and walls, tearing apart corridors, while his cybernetic limbs whirred with brutal speed. The heroes coordinated flawlessly. Superman's raw power pinned him in place. Thor's lightning struck his circuits. Iron Man's repulsors pierced vulnerable joints, and Batman sabotaged his reinforcements and energy conduits. Yet, Salamine was relentless, every movement precise, calculated, terrifying. As the corridor collapsed behind them, the heroes pressed forward, sparks flying, alarms blaring, structural supports groaning. Salomon's voice echoed, metallic and distorted, resonating through the ruins. "You cannot win. The power I wield is beyond your comprehension." He hurled debris, cybernetic whips, and energy blasts, turning the fortress into a deadly gauntlet. Superman shielded the survivor. Thor deflected projectiles with Mjolnir. Iron Man flew overhead, blasting the enemy from multiple angles, and Batman disappeared into the smoke, striking from every shadow. Finally, they reached the throne room. It was vast, a cathedral of alien machinery fused with Salamon's robotic enhancements. The walls pulsed with alien energy, casting eerie red and blue light over the massive chamber. At its center, Salamine waited, claws extended, energy crackling along every spike of his body. The ground trembled as he rose, his mechanical and alien fusion radiating sheer power. "So, you've made it," he hissed, voice grinding like metal on metal. "This is where your world ends." Superman clenched his fists, heat vision flaring. Thor raised Mjolnir, summoning a storm that crackled and danced across the room. Iron Man hovered, repulsors blazing, scanning for the perfect strike. Batman's eyes glimmered beneath his cowl, every strategy already forming in his mind. The survivor crouched behind them, twitching violently, sparks flying as alien tech tried to reassert control. "We end this," Superman said, voice calm but deadly. "Together." Salamine lunged. The heroes met him head-on. The throne room erupted in chaos. Lightning, fire, energy blasts, and shattering steel collided in waves of destructive force. Salamine moved faster than thought, claws slicing through walls, spikes tearing at floors. But the heroes' combined assault was unstoppable. Superman's raw strength collided with Salamon's armored limbs, Thor's lightning-overloaded circuits. Iron Man's precision fire exploited every weakness, and Batman's traps turned the battlefield into a deadly web. The clash tore the chamber apart. Alien energy surged, alarms screamed, and structural supports cracked. The survivor screamed, caught between awe and fear, as the heroes struck blow after blow. Yet Salamine remained alive, twisting, adapting, refusing to fall. "You will not stop me," he roared, voice metallic and inhuman. Every attack from the heroes met a brutal counter. Every strategy met with an unrelenting response. As the dust and sparks settled, the heroes stood in the center of the crumbling throne room, battered but alive. Salamine glared at them, his red sensors glowing ominously, body twitching with alien energy. "You may have slowed me," he hissed, voice grinding like metal on metal. "But the war has only begun. Others are coming, and you will fall before them." The heroes exchanged grim glances. The battle had been won for now, but Salamon's threat was far from over. The city outside quivered in the aftermath, citizens trembling, unsure whether to celebrate or flee. The storm was not over. It had only shifted to a darker, more dangerous phase. Somewhere beyond the ruins, more enemies stirred, waiting for the heroes to tire. And deep within Echovale, the faint hum of alien tech energy suggested Salamon's forces were preparing for the next strike. The war had escalated. The heroes had survived, but the villain's empire remained, vast and unbroken. And in the shadows, a chilling truth waited to be revealed. The true battle, the one that would decide the fate of the world, was just beginning. The throne room shook with the force of Salamon's presence. Sparks flew from shattered machinery, and the walls pulsated with alien energy, bathing the heroes in a blood-red glow. The air crackled with electricity and tension. Every step closer to Salamine felt like wading into a storm. Superman hovered, fists clenched, eyes blazing. Thor's hammer radiated lightning, ready to strike. Iron Man hovered above, repulsors glowing, while Batman crouched in the shadows, eyes scanning, ready for any trap. The survivor's body twitched violently, the alien tech inside him reacting to the building chaos, but he pointed toward the central throne, trembling. "That's it, that's his core," he gasped. Salamine rose from the throne, larger than ever, mechanical limbs creaking, alien spikes glowing bright red. His voice echoed through the cavernous chamber. "You cannot stop the evolution of power. I will crush you all." He lunged with inhuman speed, claws extending, sending waves of energy that cracked the floors beneath the heroes. Superman met him head-on, colliding mid-air, fists pounding against reinforced armor with a force that shook the ceiling. Thor swung Mjolnir, lightning arcing in blinding sheets across the room, striking Salamon's metal plating with explosive impact. Iron Man fired continuous repulsor blasts, targeting weak points that Batman had already analyzed, tearing through layers of alien armor. The throne room became a blur of motion, sparks flying, steel snapping, energy surging. Solomon's mechanical legs stomped, sending shockwaves across the floor. He swung his clawed arms, slicing through walls and scattering debris, but the heroes were relentless. Superman's heat vision carved a path through his defenses, while Thor's lightning overloaded circuitry, sending sparks cascading in every direction. Iron Man's calculated blasts dismantled drones and augmented soldiers, while Batman struck from the shadows, planting explosives on energy conduits. The clash was raw, chaotic, and devastating, yet every move of Solomon's was precise, almost predatory. Salamine roared, a sound that was half organic, half machine, reverberating through the throne room. "Fools! You are insignificant." He surged forward, smashing pillars, tearing chunks of the ceiling free, sending a rain of concrete and metal crashing down. The heroes adapted instantly, moving as one. Superman shielded civilians as debris fell. Thor deflected massive chunks with his hammer. Iron Man blasted obstructions while analyzing structural weaknesses, and Batman darted from shadow to shadow, ensuring every strike counted. Their coordination turned the tide. Salamine could strike with brute force, but the heroes had precision, strategy, and combined power. Finally, the survivor shouted, pointing to the glowing core behind Salamine. "Destroy it! That's how you stop him." Superman and Thor exchanged a glance, understanding immediately. Thor hurled Mjolnir, lightning arcing perfectly into Iron Man's repulsors, while Superman prepared a heat vision strike, synchronizing their attack for maximum effect. Iron Man focused his repulsors on the node, blasting it with concentrated energy. Batman signaled for a coordinated strike, throwing batarangs to destabilize surrounding machinery. Salamine roared, claws striking at the hero's mid-assault, but the combined force hit him squarely, the core erupting in a massive explosion of light and energy. The explosion rocked the throne room. Salamine screeched as his systems overloaded, sparks flying from his alien tech body. The heroes were thrown back but landed, battered yet alive, standing in the smoke-filled ruin. Yet even in the chaos, Salomon's red eyes glowed faintly. "You think this is over?" he hissed, body twitching violently, sparks still flying from fractured circuits. His voice trailed, mechanical and menacing. "The war has just begun." The survivors in the city watched distant flames and smoke rising from Echovale, unaware of the true scale of the battle. The city trembled as news spread, citizens posting images of heroes clashing with what looked like a nightmare made real. Fear and hope collided. Fear of what Salamine represented. Hope that heroes could still protect them. Superman, Thor, Iron Man, and Batman regrouped, surveying the throne room's ruin, knowing the victory was temporary. The fortress was weakened, Salamine injured, but the Empire still had hidden forces, and the villain himself had survived. As they exited the shattered throne room, a faint, ominous hum echoed from deep within Echovale. Alien tech machinery flickered back to life in distant chambers. Somewhere in the shadows, reinforcements stirred, and Salomon's voice, distorted and metallic, whispered through hidden speakers. "You may have won today, but tomorrow, the reckoning will be complete." The heroes paused, exchanging grim glances, realizing the war was far from over. Outside, the city waited, trembling, while the first hints of the larger, unstoppable conflict began to take shape. The storm had not passed. It had only shifted. And somewhere in the shadows, the true threat, far deadlier than anyone imagined, was already awakening. The fortress of Echovale trembled, smoke rising from shattered corridors and broken machinery. Salomon's throne room lay in ruin, sparks flickering across the walls like dying stars. Superman, Thor, Iron Man, and Batman emerged from the wreckage, battered but unbroken, eyes scanning for survivors and remaining threats. The survivor, still twitching from the alien tech implants, whispered hoarsely, "He's not finished. Others, they're coming." Before the heroes could respond, the ground beneath them quaked violently. From the shadows, a new wave of alien tech soldiers emerged, faster and stronger than anything they had faced. Their eyes glowed crimson, their weapons pulsing with deadly energy. Thor swung Mjolnir, lightning arcing wildly, striking dozens in an instant. Superman barreled through the ranks, fists smashing armored bodies into walls. Iron Man unleashed a continuous stream of repulsor blasts, each hit creating showers of sparks, while Batman moved like a shadow, setting traps and sabotaging reinforcements before they could strike. Salamine, though wounded, rose behind the new soldiers. His half-alien, half-robotic body shimmered with residual energy, spikes glinting in the chaotic light. "You've slowed me," he hissed, voice grinding like machinery. "But the Empire never dies. Others will rise, stronger than you can imagine." His words were a promise of doom, chilling in their metallic resonance. Superman clenched his fists, heat vision flaring. Thor's hammer glowed brighter, summoning a storm that lit up the crumbling fortress. Iron Man's HUD tracked every threat, pinpointing weak points, while Batman's eyes scanned, already calculating the next move. The heroes launched forward, cutting through the waves of soldiers, each movement faster than the last. The city outside echoed with distant explosions and energy surges. Citizens watched from afar, terrified but captivated, recording the battle as it unfolded like a war-scale spectacle. Each strike the heroes delivered sent shockwaves through the alien tech army, but for every soldier destroyed, two more seemed to rise. The survivor screamed, caught in the middle, alien tech implants sparking violently. "We have to stop him now." Suddenly, the fortress shuddered violently. From the depths, a massive shadow moved, a new figure taller, stronger, a fusion of alien and robotic design far beyond Salamon's own body. Energy pulsated from its core, waves of force shaking the structure. Salamon's eyes glowed brighter. "Meet the next evolution." The heroes froze, realizing the true scale of the threat. This was no longer a battle against a single villain. It was the opening salvo of a war that could consume the world. Superman lifted into the air. Thor called down lightning. Iron Man readied every weapon, and Batman disappeared into the shadows, all four preparing for a fight unlike any they had faced before. The shadow advanced, and the ground cracked under its weight, sending debris flying in every direction. The fortress trembled, alarms screaming, fires flaring. The survivor cried out, sparks from his alien tech body illuminating the chaos. Salamon's voice echoed one last time through the ruins. "The war is only beginning. You will fall before it ends." The heroes faced the growing shadow, battered but unbroken, knowing this battle had just unlocked a far deadlier war. Outside, the city trembled, lights flickered, and distant sirens blared. And somewhere, deep within Echo Vale, more forces stirred, preparing to descend on an unsuspecting world. The first clash was over, but the real fight, the one that would decide the fate of humanity, had only just begun. The storm was coming,